Justin, you see the size of this? I need a bigger net. Oh.
2 years ago I first fished this water, and it's well known as being one of the top waters in the country. It has 4 lakes and they're all spring fed, and the clarity is different in each 4 lakes. And for most of the time they carry a bit of colour. Now this won't be a problem, for these lakes are really well stocked. They're stocked on a weekly basis. Rainbows, browns, spartics, blues, tigers, and with the odd few surprises. And the fish range from the smaller 2-pounders way up into the doubles. So with me 2 years ago was Lloyd and Justin Allen, and the fishing was pretty damn good.
Unbelievable. Cracked in, right, and the fly just come out.
Okay, so it's Christmas holiday break, and there's no work, so we're going fishing. So what we normally do around the Christmas holiday break is we'll organise a few trips to different waters further afield. Yesterday we were at Trout, and that was myself, Justin and Paul. Now the fishing on the day turned out that it was quite difficult, with quite a few blanks around the lake. But for us three, it was probably more than memorable, for a few different reasons. Paul and myself did quite well, 6 and 7 apiece. Justin only had the 1, so it's not very often that you're going to get more fish than Justin. So it goes to show even Justin Allen can have a bad day. So not long after arriving, we head off to the office. We're going to sort our tickets and order our midday meal. Justin is quite keen to get set up, but I've decided to have a walk about the lake and meet a few people. But it was only about 3/4 an hour into doing this when I had a shout from Justin. He was quite keen to show me what he's got.
Cracking.
Yeah.
Jesus, huh?
I've lost 2 as well.
Okay, while I'm here, I may as well just stay and watch Justin. I haven't even got my own rod set up yet. Now before he had that perch, he'd already had 2 rainbows to the net. So it seems like he's already over yesterday's performance. And before you know it, he's hooked into another fish.
Get him to jump.
Justin's setup is with a slow intermediate and a 3-fly cast. He's got 2 small dowels on the droppers and a sort of weighted cormorant on the point. But what he's telling me is that he's tried several different retrieves, and it's the slower retrieve that seems to be working best. Okay, watching Justin there has really got me going. I couldn't wait to start. And what I've set up with is the floating line and 2 nymphs. And it wasn't too long before I had my first knock. And a bit after that, I had a follow.
Oh, first hit.
All of a sudden, I hear a splashing noise to my right. It's Justin. He's into another fish. Not only that, the chap just below him is into a fish, and he's fishing with an indicator. Okay, it seems like we've got a good few fish in front of us. Justin and myself, we continually get in knocks. And I've noticed the chap down on the indicator, him striking, and I think he's missing a few too. But it's only going to be a matter of time before one connects. Okay, I'll be honest with you, I've been watching Justin on the intermediate, I've given up on the floater, and I've went down and switched. So now I'm on the intermediate, single fly on the end, and I've got my black and green frits. So if you follow the channel, you may be wondering where the Ellerdine mongrel is. Thing is, I'm totally unorganised. I've gone through the fly boxes and I can't find it. But this pattern has been very successful, not just here, but on a lot of waters.
He come off right at the end. He just come off right by there.
Okay, so I'm working my way into it.
Little lure of mine.
Whenever I'm fishing a water, I'm always considering the clarity and how I fish the pattern that I have. When we're fishing the waters of Hayes Castle, which is clear, I know I can present small patterns and fish them with a bit of pace. But when I'm on waters which have a bit of colour, I'm always wondering how much the fish can see and how much disturbance that smaller pattern will make in the water. We know the fish can see a lot more than what we can see, and from their perspective I'm sure it's totally different. But they'll also pick up on movement in the water, and that's picking up any vibration with their lateral line. So the way I go about it is, if I'm presented with darker coloured water and I want to fish a small pattern, I'm going to have to slow it right down. Much like fishing the indicator, so long as the fish are in front of you, at some point they're going to bump into your pattern. So larger patterns give off a bigger silhouette and they create a lot more vibration in the water, whereas the small pattern will give off very little silhouette and a lot less vibration. So for me to choose a pattern that I want to fish is more down to the speed I want to fish it at.
I was just letting it drop slowly in slow draw, but I knew I've been watching these fish chasing something in the margins, and they. Yeah. And that's why I thought I'd stick to the margin.
Okay, nothing unusual about this take. It was just a normal take. Put the line out, letting it drop. As I started to take the first draw, the line went tight. The fish continued to swim around the lake. It didn't race off, or it was nothing unusual. I just thought it was another fish. So I did notice that the camera behind me was switched off, so I even have time to mess about with the camera, switching it back on. It was only then that I realised that the fish was quite a lot larger than a normal fish. And it was only then that the fish decided to bully me with his weight.
Good fish, Justin. Good fish. I had a quick glimpse of it then. Thought, oh yeah. Oh, Justin, you see the size of this? Yeah. Come see the size of this thing. I need a bigger net. I haven't got a big enough net. You want to borrow your net?
Now, if there's one thing that you've got to do when you've got a fish like this on, you should really be playing it on the reel. Well, I was quite fortunate. This fish was probably a little bit lethargic.
Take it easy, because I know the tippet isn't massively heavy.
You do one surge, you won't more than likely. He's well hooked anyway. Back, mate. Go back.
Now, this is where a lot of these fish will be lost. It's normally being a bit too eager to get the fish into the net. It's better to be a bit more patient and have the angler draw the fish into the net.
Almost.
And once the fish is in the net, draw the net to the bank. Do not lift the net. But as Justin's net was getting closer to that fish, I started to wonder whether his net was big enough.
He's walking up, is he?
Yeah, my arm's tired. Oh.
Have to dive him in.
Right, he's going to come out this time.
Bring it out to us. Go on. That's it.
Okay, you're not going to get the great fish shot here. There was a bit of confusion. I was bumming around with the camera for so long and Justin thought that it was all done. And the fish is gone.
Lovely release.
Oh, he's gone? Nice one.
Okay, a little bit out of my comfort zone here. Fishing these darker waters I'm not quite used to. I don't do enough of it. I fish more of the clearer waters. But for a lot of the regulars up here, they head straight to these coloured lakes. So it could be more down to what you're used to. They obviously have their methods that works. But for me, I'm going to upsize the lure. That'll create a bigger silhouette. And move it at a certain pace so that I can create some vibration in the water.
Okay, so far it's been really good. Justin, he's been hammering them out. I end up with that double over the other side and a few other fish. It's fishing pretty good, but I'm in this piece of water now and Justin was saying that he's moved quite a few fish in this piece of water. There's 4 lakes up here altogether. I don't know where Justin is at the moment. We sort of got split up a bit, which is quite annoying because I want to get a bit more of him on the camera. It's very coloured water, so I've gone with a bigger lure, more of a silhouette, intermediate line, fish it slow. But it's a damn good day. Very busy place, lots of people up here, which is nice, but give it another go.
Okay, since doing this video, Justin and myself have talked quite a bit about fishing coloured waters. I do most of my fishing in the clearer waters, and I do understand the challenges for both, but I wouldn't mind covering more coloured water. I think there's a lot more to learn. For most of the time when we hit these waters, it's mainly chuck and chance. And there's going to be a big difference when you're fishing a water like this that's well stocked as opposed to a water that's not as well stocked. The problem for me is my nearest water is about an hour and a half away, and you're not going to learn something like this overnight. It's going to take time. And the closest I've got to fishing in waters like this with a successful pattern is the Ellerdine mongrel. I thought about the conditions on this water 2 years ago and I came up with this pattern. On the day I actually fished many variations of patterns and it was okay, but once I put the Ellerdine mongrel on, it changed everything. Now there is a lot more to this pattern than when you're looking, and this is something that I will explain as I start understanding more about presentation in coloured water. But it would be great to know that you're going to follow us along as we explore coloured waters, along with some of the clear water. So why not consider subscribing to the channel, click on the bell, press all, and make sure you don't miss out on any future content.
Oh, cracking brown when he got off. Unbelievable. That there was a really lovely brown. He was more silver, wasn't the golden colours you normally associate with the brown trout. Probably get a bit of a look of it on the camera before it come off. But that was quite high in the water. Okay, I'm going to head up now to the next lake. Hopefully we'll bump into Justin. Even though I'm pulling them on the intermediate, I think I should have stuck with the floater. With this particular lake, it's very coloured. Visibility for me looking in is only about a foot. So when you get colour like that, sometimes moving the pattern that much slower. When you're on the intermediate, you're actually going down all the time. And if you want to keep it higher in the water, you're having to move it faster. So it probably, the floater could well be the best bet at the moment. Gives you more options in hanging the fly, moving it slow. shorten it, keep it higher in the water. I ain't going to change now. I think I'll stick to what I got.
Okay, on my way around the lakes looking for Justin, I couldn't resist. I've just noticed that there was a few fish moving in this area here, so I thought I'd give it a quick go.
Okay, that was actually really good fun. I've got to be honest, I've lost track of the day as to what we've done, what we've filmed and what we haven't. I don't think I've got as many fish to the net on the camera, but it doesn't really matter because it was just more of a fun day. And Justin, I've lost him altogether. Since we've had dinner, I haven't seen him once. It's because you've got the 4 lakes, and possibly as I'm moving around this way, he's going round, and we're always on opposite sides of the fishery, like. But it was a great day, and obviously that big fish. It was nice to see it, get it on, and now my arm was knackered when I had that fish on. And I did notice, I don't know if it shows up in the camera shot, I noticed that its tail wasn't too fit. And I'm glad it wasn't, because the weight of that fish, and as much as my arm was getting tired. So if it had a full tail on there, I think that would have been a bit different. But I hope you enjoy the video for a bum around thing. I'll see what I can do with what I've got. And until the next video, take care. Take your time. I need some splashing. Yes. Are you bastards? I need splashing.